regular series for Walt Disney World. Hi everybody, welcome to a basic guide to Walt Disney World in 2025. Don't mind the music behind me, that's just Remy's. There's just a few things that I'm going to go through that hopefully will help people that are going either for the first time or they're just not really sure what to expect. I get asked about this a lot from friends and family, so I thought I'd just make a YouTube video about it. So basically, I've got a few notes here and I'll go through those. Let me see if I can just set these up. So we'll go through what's on property, how to get the best use out of that, and also a few little things that you need to be doing just before you leave. Let me know if you need any more information on anything that I talk about, by the way. Just leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. This is the first YouTube video that I've ever done, so that was my iPad. Let's hope that's not cracked. Yeah, that's fine. Let me know if you want any more information on anything that I talk about. I'm happy to go deeper into things because I've been going to Disney World since I was quite young. I'm really lucky that my mum and dad worked really hard to get us all over there, me and my two brothers. So I've been with family, I've worked over there, I've been with friends, and I've also been on my own. And that's a couple of times now. So I know it like the back of my hand, and I'm quite happy to go through any tips and tricks that you want. I've also done the dining plan, so I'll do a video about that as well, because I get a lot of questions about whether it's worth it, and it's all personal preference really, but we'll get into that. So to start off, the basics are, you've got 4 parks: Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot. Those are your 4 main theme parks. You've also then got 2 water parks, Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. So they're both open at the minute, but that's the first time in a long time that both of them have been open. I think it's September the 5th that one of them will close again, and then they tend to swap over just before the summer season starts to get a bit of refurbishment done and things like that. You've also then got a shopping and entertainment district, 2 of those. So you've got Disney Springs and you've got the Boardwalk. Please, please, please make time for Disney Springs. If you can make time, please go to the Boardwalk because it is really lovely there, and not a lot of people make the effort to go, but we'll get further into that. So I won't go into too much detail of all the parks and the shopping, entertainment districts and things. I can do some additional videos to help go through some things that you might want to go to, some things that you want to keep an eye out for, just to help basically guide you through what that day might look like. It's not that easy to describe how big these places are unless you've been, which is really annoying, I know, but people try, and if you're from the UK, they try and ask, is it like Alton Towers? No, absolutely not. No, it's not. So you need to not expect to get everything done. Not to put a negative spin on it at all, but I would say try and get a priority list set, because then say you have 3 priorities, concentrate on getting those 3 done. Once you've got those done, that's great. Anything in addition to that, you're going to be you're going to do well to do that. There's ways of making it easier. So there is, the lightning lane multipass and all that sort of system. But for the proper basics, that's all this video is for. Those are your parks. Those are your water parks. Don't skip on the water parks because they're really great to have as a day off. What me and my family tend to do is, if we want to have a bit of a rest day, we'll go to the water park in the morning and then book something that we want to go to at Disney Springs, like the boathouse or something like that. What I want to go through in this video is a bit of a helping hand with how you decide where you want to stay. So you've got 2 options with that. You can either stay on site or you can stay off site. The top 3 questions that you need to ask yourself, I've got notes here, is who's going? Is it you on your own? Is it you and your partner? Is it your whole family? Is it just you and children? You need to determine who is actually going to be staying, because that can make a drastic input into where you will end up. You need to know what is your day-to-day priority. Are you going to be spending most of your time in the parks, or do you want a bit more of a chilled, relaxed holiday at Disney, which you can have, because there's certain resorts that I would recommend for that. So there's ways that you can do it. And also, what's your budget? That's, I mean, let's be honest, it's Disney. It's Disney World, so it can be expensive. Expensive is relative to everybody. So, you know, the all-star resorts, which I think are great. I really do. I've used them every single time that I've been on a solo holiday. I've used them with my friends. My family stayed there when we were younger. So they are really great resorts. What I will say is they're really great if you know that you're going to spend a lot of time in the parks as well. What I would not recommend is you spend an extortionate amount of money on a beautiful deluxe resort and then you spend no time there, because what's the point? You know, there's no reason why you can't resort hop if you're planning on just having one rest day where you want to be by the pool. You really need to think about how much time you're going to be spending there and what you're going to be doing when you are there. Sometimes there are refurbishments at the resorts, or there's extensions. So on the Walt Disney website, the holidays website, they will go through each of the resorts and it will say if there's, for example, a pool that's shut this date to this date. It should give you some guidelines with when it will be shut, because that can make a huge difference, especially if you stay somewhere like the Yacht and Beach Club. So some of the perks for staying on site, they include extra magic hours. So that's time in the morning where you can get there earlier than the general public and get in about half an hour earlier, and that can have a huge impact on getting a ride done, for example. So a lot of people, when they're going to Animal Kingdom, they'll go straight to Flight of Passage, or, you know, a lot of people will go to Rise, or they'll go to Tower when they go to Hollywood Studios. Epcot, they'll go straight to Guardians of the Galaxy. Going to Magic Kingdom, they might go on Tron, they might go on Seven Dwarfs. You can really gain a lot of time out of your day by using those early magic hours. So definitely make sure that you have a look into that. Have a look into if the parks are participating on that. Usually you'll be able to find what areas are open, because not everything will be open, but you just need to double check. These things change all the time, so I don't want to determine that one thing will be open and then you get there, you get up early and it's not. You can get some good offers. So I don't know if it's still on at the minute. It might be. I know that there's a Disney dining plan offer at the minute, I think for 2026 holidays. And the dining plan, you can really get a lot out of it if you know how to use it. And like I said, especially if it comes free anyway, because no matter what, you're up. Don't get me wrong, the package that you need to get for that will still be expensive. However, if people can book these resorts without the free dining plan on their offer, you're still getting a good deal out of it. Another perk is that you are in the Disney bubble. So what I really feel like this is really important for somebody that's going on their own. I mean, just as an example, what I did was I flew from Gatwick to MCO. Then I got the Mears Connect, which is nice and easy to do. It's really self-explanatory. Straight to the resort, and that was it. I had all my transportation. I know that I was safe from working there. I know how many cameras there are everywhere. You are never ever unseen. They can see you all the time. So I always feel safe. There's also some really great Disney transportation options. So there's the buses. While they're fine, it's fun to use them, but also they can be an absolute nightmare when you're leaving the park after the fireworks. everybody is hounding towards the buses and you've got to wait. And it's not the issue that there's so many people there, because there always will be. It's the issue that they're not necessarily ongoing sometimes. Sometimes they can be quite spread out, and that can be a little bit frustrating if you see another resort that's got loads of buses coming and coming and coming. But I will say, on my last trip that we went, we didn't really have any issues with waiting for a bus for too long. So that was fine. There's the boats, they're really lovely. You can get them from Port Orleans, you can get it from Old Key West, Saratoga, over to Disney Springs, and then obviously it'll bring you back. They're really nice to go on. My family really enjoys them. You can go on the monorail. Now on the monorail you can get from Magic Kingdom to Epcot via the ticket and transportation, what's it called? Ticket and transportation station. I think that's it, I can't remember. Something like that. You can get from Magic Kingdom to Epcot anyway, and then you can do the Magic Kingdom loop, which is basically the Contemporary, Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, and then Magic Kingdom again. That's the monorail, and then there's the Skyliner. The Skyliner is my favourite way of Disney transportation, and I'm sure it's a lot of people's favourite. It's really great when you're finishing a day at a park and you can get on that, there's nobody else. You can quite often get one of the little, are they called cable cars? That's what I'm going to call them, I don't know. You can quite often get one of the cable cars to yourself, to your family, and that's it. And then you don't have to deal with anyone for a good 20 minutes. On the Skyliner, you can get from Epcot over to Hollywood Studios. There's multiple resorts on the way there as well that you can stop off at. Sometimes it's nice to just go resort hopping on that. I love the coffee from Riviera. The quick service there is just nice. So another perk if you want to stay on site is that you will get free parking at the parks. However, you do need to check for if your resort is making you pay to keep your car at the resort. I know that if you've got nothing else like a Disney Vacation Club annual pass holder or anything like that, if you've got none of those, I think there is a charge for you to keep a rental car or your car at the resort. So you do need to check up on that. And then the final perk, which I think a lot of people will agree with, is a resort mug. I'm just going to let that sink in for a moment, because we spend thousands of pounds and thousands of dollars to be able to get a resort mug and get use out of it. I still use mine. They're great. Great. And so the perks for staying offsite is you can find cheaper options. Not all the time, and you need to double check that there isn't any like standing fees when you get there, because I know that happens quite a lot near Disney Springs. But just it will say on the website, it will say if there's in-house charges for when you do arrive. Another thing is staying off-site, I would highly recommend hiring a car unless the resort that you're staying at does a shuttle and you're wanting to visit the Disney parks. I think if you go onto Disney in Detail, and I think it's Catherine, both of those two, these are Disney vloggers that I watch, both of those two have stayed somewhere off-site that does offer a shuttle, but I need to double check that. I'll put them below if there is. So another perk for staying off-site is if you're staying in one of the villas, you get obviously a private pool. You can have a lot more private time with your family, because when you're at a resort in Disney, there's going to be a lot of people there a lot of the time, unless you go really early to the pool or something like that. But there is going to be other families and people enjoying themselves everywhere, so you won't often get time to yourself if that's what you're wanting. So I think that's a really great perk, especially if you're celebrating something. You know, there's usually a big kitchen in these villas. So you can do proper meals, you can go to Walmart and get pizzas to put in the oven. So the thing is, there's ways that you can make it cheaper for yourself as well. So a few pointers now: going to Target, going to Walmart and doing a food shop and getting things for the parks is something that I would really recommend. Even when we're staying on site, we'll make an afternoon out of going to Target or going to Walmart and getting all of the drinks by water, 100% by water, outside of the parks, because the water I think now is about $5. It's not big, I think it's about 500 ml, maybe a little bit bigger than that, but it's not big at all. It's $5. And then if you take your resort mug or take a flask where you can fill it up, the water, you're going to be lucky if you get a nice iced water. All of the quick service, they do actually have trays now where you can go up and grab a couple of cups of ice water, which is really great, but I'll down them if I've not got a bottle or something like that. So you don't want to be filling your water bottles up from them barrels, because it's warm. You won't like it, so don't do that. So buy water definitely from a supermarket over there. Buy things like little snacks. I would really recommend getting breakfast things, because sometimes you just want to be up and out. If that's the case, sometimes you'll want to eat breakfast in the parks because they do have some really nice options. But what tends to happen is people will get straight in a queue for a ride, and if you've got people that are hungry at that time, you don't want to be getting, mad at each other in the line. That's not a good look. It's quite fun for other people to watch, but it's not a good look. So if it's your first time going, you need to download the My Disney Experience app. You'll need to create a profile for yourself on there. It's really easy to do. Create a profile for yourself. Make sure that you use an email that you've got access to though. And that's where you're going to be able to basically get into the app and start organising your whole holiday. Every person on your holiday is going to need a profile for that. They can either do that themselves and then you can link to each other. You can become friends on there. Or if it's somebody that either doesn't know how to use a phone or doesn't know how to use the app or can't use the app, you can create a profile that you can control for them. This is basically just so that things are a little bit more organised for when you get there, because otherwise it's just going to be a little bit of a whirlwind. You link everything to your profile on your app. So you'll link your park tickets, you'll link your reservations for food, you'll link any ride passes that you may want to buy. You'll be able to have a look at food menus. There's so many things on this app that you'll be able to do, so just definitely make sure that you download it. What I would recommend doing is, once you've downloaded the app, just have a play about with it. Go right through it, see what there is on there, because there's going to be a lot more than you think. There's maps on there, there's so many things that you can get out of this app, so definitely have a look at those. Once you've had a play with the app, the next thing that I would recommend that you do is start to make a plan. So this doesn't need to be done hour by hour, nothing like that. Ask everybody who's going with you what their top 3 priorities are for the trip. That could be rides, it could be shows, it could be restaurants. There's so many things that you can do over there that you just need to have a look into what you might like to do. If you don't know what you'd like to do, have a look at the other videos that I've got on the individual parks, and that might give you a bit of an idea of how to structure your first days at Disney. What I would say is, if you're staying on site, you can book the reservations for your dine-in 60 days in advance. I would really recommend doing this. You can do it all on the app, but you need to know where you'd like to go. So I made a little list for what's actually on the app at the minute. This is not everything, this is just everything that I used the last time that we were over there. So it's basically a central hub for Walt Disney World. You can have a look at dining reservations on there, check out the menus. You can mobile order for quick service dining. Disney dining plan is automatically put onto any dining reservations and things like that that you use. You can use mobile checkout for merchandise. I really recommend doing this. I save myself so much time and it's so easy to do, but just not a lot of people do it. You can obviously do the lightning lane passes. There's a multi-pass, a single pass and the premier pass. If you want a video on those, let me know, but I don't know whether people will actually want, because there's a lot of videos on YouTube already for those. Your hotel reservation will link to the app, so all of the information on that will be there, and you can also actually have a room key on your phone the same way as contactless works. You can do the same thing with your phone on the door, so that's quite handy for if you've not got a magic band on or things like that. You can join virtual queues. I don't know if there's actually any out at the moment. I know that Guardians has gone back open now, I think. I don't think there is any virtual. Anyway, any new rides, you can join virtual queues for that. You can have a look at wait times for the rides. You can have a look at show times for parades, shows. That's really handy to use for if you definitely want to have a look at one show that you go into, you know the show times. You can obviously bring up the maps of Disney property. That's the whole of Disney that you can bring up. So if somebody says, I don't know where I am, but I'm outside this shop, you can click on Disney Springs, show the map, and then you'll be able to find where they are. It's not anything like tracking them, but you'll be able to guide them with the map, that's what I mean. You can have a look at your Disney photo passes from rides and, you know, any photography that's done with characters and things like that. You can link new magic bands, so somewhere that I would recommend going, there's two places that I would recommend going for a magic band if you're wanting a new one. There's the pin trading at Disney Springs. They've got loads, absolutely loads. I think that's where the biggest collection is. I'll be going there in October because I want one of the Magic Band pluses. But the other place that there's got quite a good selection, apart from Main Street, is the souvenir tent. Oh. Somebody let me know what it's actually called. I can't remember off the top of my head right now while I'm doing this. Like basically round the back of where Seven Dwarfs is, but there's a big collection in there at the minute. And there's also something that's quite handy for people that are going to be tired at the end of the day. Like there's a car locator now, so once you get out of the car you can tap it, and then when you come back you'll know where your car is, which is really handy because when you see the size of the parking lots, you're going to be gobsmacked. It is enormous, so that's definitely something handy to use. I know that obviously Google Maps and things like that does that anyway, but if you need it, it's there. I mean, that's about it really. If you've got any other questions about what's actually on property, let me know. I can do whatever video about it. I love talking about it. So yeah, this is gonna be a Disney vlogging channel, but while I'm waiting for my trip to come round in October, I'm gonna be giving out little tips and tricks and things like that. So I'll put out a couple of videos about the parks, and I'll split it into two, so that I'll do Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom and then Hollywood Studios and Epcot, so that they're not too long, and it will just have things like suggestions for rides, shows to go to, maybe a few suggestions to where to eat quick service for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and then suggestions for sit down meals if that's what you'd like to do. But yeah, thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. I really hope that this helped anybody. If it did, please let me know. Or if you want me to go into detail on something that I'd not even thought of, just let me know and I'll happily make a video for that. Subscribe to the channel if you would really like to see more videos about Disney and you want to see some Disney vlogs, some Halloween Disney vlogs, and just have a bit of fun. That's all it is really, a bit of fun. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.